What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you liked the truck review on the last video. So today, as promised, I told you guys I would give you an update on the Mach 1. But first, let's get the truck washed because it's been getting a beating lately. On our way to the car wash. Alrighty guys, now that the truck is washed, looks mint, we can talk about the Mustang now. Alrighty guys, I'm gonna be honest, I really don't even know where to start talking about the Mustang because so much has happened since I last made a video about it. But I think we should start with the Hot Rod Power Tour in 2022. Okay guys, so obviously from the title and thumbnail of the video, this was something that I never wanted to have to make. I really never thought I would have to make a video like this. You know, I just started my YouTube channel. I had big plans for it, and the Mustang needs a new engine. That's basically the gist of it. So, Hot Rod Power Tour 2022. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm on my third transmission in the Mustang. So I bought the car, it grinded second gear. I bought another used transmission. It grinded going to third gear, I believe. And then I finally bit the bullet and I finally bought a third transmission. This transmission was built, straight cut gears, and it was still a TR3650. So each transmission I've had was a TR3650. I've been wanting to do T56 for the longest time. I should have done it right off the bat. But that's besides the point. So anyway, Hot Rod Power Tour 2022. I have videos coming out for that, by the way, so stay tuned for that. So 48 hours before Hot Rod Power Tour 2022, I was mid-transmission swap on the Mustang. I literally put that transmission in, that built transmission, right before a Hot Rod Power Tour. Because I didn't want to have to be driving across the country, grinding gears into third gear. So that was good. You know, the transmission was perfectly fine. But I would come to later find out that there was something weird going on with it, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So, Hot Rod Power Tour went perfectly fine. You know, I wasn't beating on the car because I was driving 3,000 miles across the country. So I didn't want to be stranded anywhere. So I would get back home, driving the car around, and I noticed something with this transmission that I never had an issue with on the two prior transmissions. So when I'm going from third to fourth gear, it was really strange because, and I think this is where the root of my problem is. So going from third to fourth gear, it wouldn't like going into fourth gear, which was really strange. The transmission was fine. If I was shifted slowly, it would go in. But if I'm like banging gears, it wouldn't go into fourth gear. I would go so if I was at a high RPM, it would go from third, I would go slowly because this has happened to me multiple times. I would try going slowly from third to fourth gear, it would plop right into second gear. So I don't know why that happened, and it's happened on multiple occasions. So I was really scared that something wrong was happening to the car. And I would be out cruising with some Mustang guys. I remember I was next to Smurf GT on Instagram. Shout out to him. And we were on the highway next to each other. I go to shift from third to fourth, plops it right into second, which just makes the RPMs like go to the moon. But the car still seemed fine after that. It still took that beating. But I would come to notice soon that it almost sounded like an exhaust leak coming out of the car. Because I know what rod knock sounds like, and this does not sound like rod knock at all. So I continued to mess around with the exhaust just to see where the exhaust leak was coming from, because I've had problems with exhaust leaks with this car for quite a while, and I always just mess around with the exhaust, fix them, then they come back anyway. So at this point, I was like, whatever, I'm done messing with the exhaust. I took it to Meineke. They found an exhaust leak right at the header. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's it. That's my problem. The next week, I'm driving around with my friend John. We're just cruising around town, whatnot, and it still sounds like there's an exhaust leak. And I'm like, what the hell? But it would come and go. It wasn't just like always there. It was the slightest little sound ever. So I didn't really think too much of this exhaust leak, what I had thought was an exhaust leak. So luckily enough, the night that I had gone out and driving with my friend John, we got the last video of it running before, it crapped the bed. So I'm going to put the video up right now. Sorry for it being vertical, it's just how I filmed it. So let's just take a look at that video. So the following day, I went to go pick up one of my friends from school. We were just gonna hang out, get some food and whatnot, and I was gonna pick him up in the Mustang. So he lived like 30 minutes away, and as I was going to his house, all of a sudden, I'm like 5 minutes away, the car just shuts down in the middle of the road. And I had just figured because it was losing connection to the battery, which it was, I was able to get it started back up. And then right after that, I had pulled over just because I didn't want it to shut off again. And that is when I heard the rod knock. And I will put the video from that moment right here. So at this moment, I just knew that the car was done. It was devastating. I knew I couldn't drive it back, so I had a tow truck come. I'll put a picture right here of the car on the tow truck. So luckily enough, after the car was sent back to my house on a tow truck, it was still able to start. It was still able to move under its own power. So I had ordered new rod bearings to try to fix the car. So I brought it over to my friend John's house. We worked on it. It was a 2-day project with me, John, and his dad. So I really appreciate that. I'll put some clips of it right here of us working on it. So as you guys could tell, we literally dropped the entire front end, K-member, everything came out, took the oil pan off, pushed the rods up. It was honestly one of the most stressful things I've ever done. Torquing those connecting rod bolts back into place was actually so scary. One of the scariest things I've ever done on the car. Because the second one of those things breaks, the job's over. There's nothing you can do further to fix the car. That's when you just wrap it up and you have to get a tow truck to move it at all. So we did the job perfectly fine. Right after startup, it sounded fine. Rod knock was gone. So the next day, I decided to start the car up. I drove it around maybe a couple blocks, And then I heard the sound again. So I'm like, oh God, all that work was for nothing. So ever since then, the car has just been sitting in the driveway with a cover on it. I mean, I'm a broke college student, so I don't really have the funds just to go buy a new engine or just rebuild it. But speaking about that, I do want to plan what's next for the car, phase two, if you would say. I'm thinking either Cobra swap, complete Terminator swap, or just get the engine completely rebuilt. So if I do an engine rebuild, I'm gonna do cams. That's definitely on my bucket list. Fully forged internals. Let me know if you guys think if I should change out the aluminum block for maybe an iron block or Texid, because as everybody knows, the Mach 1 blocks are terrible. They can't hold any power. Um, so that's where I'm at right now. Uh, it's really tragic. I mean, these things happen. I didn't really expect this to go this way. I know you guys are gonna say, "Oh, it's just because I'm a terrible driver or whatever." I don't know. The kid doesn't know how to drive the car. Yes, I know how to drive the car. I mean, I drove the car for 3,000 miles in 1 week across the country. You know, I know what I'm doing. I mean, I've driven it thousands of miles before that. I just don't know why this transmission acted this way. Like, I would go as slowly as possible into fourth gear and it would just plop it into second. I don't know why. If you guys have any ideas as to why that would be happening, drop it down in the comments. I'd be more than happy to look at them. But I think that with phase two of the Mach 1, we're definitely going to go T56 without a doubt. All right, guys, I can't really think of anything else to say right now for the Mustang. Maybe I'll do another update in the future. So this is going to be the end of the Mach 1 update. It was really unfortunate, but, you know, these things happen. So I will see what I can do. I hope the Mustang will be back for the summer. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the Hot Rod Power Tour videos, which will be coming out really soon. And have a great day.